Hey guys, welcome to Ultimate Survival Tips. I'm David. It's good to be back with you as we get into episode 5 in our Survival Quick Tips series. Now last time we discussed how to prepare for and get out of sudden, dangerous situations, and today we're going to discuss what is probably the least sexy, but arguably the most important training in this entire series. It's on survival mindset. What goes on in your mind when things go bad will largely determine your probability of survival. So in a minute, we're going to share with you the 5-step process to force your mind to productively navigate any crisis so you can be a survival Yoda. And before we're all done, we'll share with you the fastest, easiest way to discover and plug your survival, disaster, and preparedness gaps. Now before we get into these vital topics, make sure to smash that like button and click the little bell icon so you get notified when we post every video in this important new series. Okay, let's jump into episode 5 of Survival Quick Tips, Survival Mindset. Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Survival Quick Tips, which is part of the Tiny Survival Guide learning system and our full Tiny Survival Masterclass online training.
In this segment, what David and I will be doing is taking a few moments to break down a vital emergency preparedness or survival topic that is found in our Tiny Survival Guide, which is, guess what? Check this out. Amazon's #1 pick for EDC survival guides, which is pretty cool. And along the way, we'll be sharing a few action steps that you can put into practice today.
All right, everybody. So today we're going to be referencing section E1 in the Tiny Survival Guide as we take you through 5 mental tips that survivors use to bulletproof their mind and stay alive. Let's get started. All right, Craig, you've studied and practiced and taught and written very extensively on the topic of mindset and its primary role in survival. Now, I have noticed that the topic of mindset doesn't come up in a whole lot of other books or the way that instructors teach it. They don't really prioritize it. So can you share with our listeners why you start with mindset, then skills, then tactics, then gear in the way that you train, and why you think mindset is so important?
It's vital. It's absolutely vital. I know we keep using that word, but the main reason, if I could be brief, is I put together 200 stories when I wrote my first book of news segments where people had died or experienced tragedy in survival or disaster type situations. And then I went to the task of writing a book that solved every single one of their problems. And the way that I did that was I broke it down with, this is sort of an old military methodology, if you will, of mindset, skills, tactics, and gear being 4 things that are necessary. But the thing that I noticed over and over and over again in these stories is mindset development was key. Now, the why other instructors don't do it, I don't know, because I hear other instructors talking about how important mindset is. What I think is difficult is for people to teach it. I hear some very respectable instructors that are good. I'm not saying that they're wrong and they're bad. I hear them say you can't teach mindset, and I wholeheartedly disagree. The United States military has been in the business of teaching mindset development for extended period of time now. Farm boys have learned mindset development over lifetimes. I can teach people how to start developing their mindset in a book, in a podcast, in our Tiny Survival Guide, and start from there. That's for sure.
And I just want to mention to people that in the Tiny Survival Masterclass, you've done a fantastic job with an entire lesson with a multitude of different things that people can put into practice as far as developing their mindset. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I go into details on the lizard brain, what's called the lizard brain, the reptilian brain, or the limbic system of the brain, and the neocortex, and how all those things work together, the 3 different parts of the brain, and how to, by understanding how they work, utilize them to more higher effectiveness. And one way of doing that is to basically learn how to stress yourself in safe conditions and sometimes not safe conditions so that you can increase your ability to handle stress when it comes your way unexpectedly.
Now let's blitz through STOPA. That's STOPA. And within STOPA, we see 5 mental keys that can help us navigate any crisis. So STOPA stands for S, stop, T, think, O, observe, P, plan, and A, act or actively stay alive. So let's start with S, Craig.
All right, so what's going on here, you all, is STOPA is just an acronym that we can utilize to affect our survival no matter what situation you're thrust into. And one of the things that happens under the stress of survival, self-defense, disaster, or anything of that nature is we have a spike in our blood pressure, we have an increase in our heart rate, we have an adrenaline dump, we have auditory exclusion, tunnel vision, we have all these different things that physiologically happen to us under stress. And the best way to handle those physiological issues is to stop whatever it is that you're doing and literally sit down if you can to gather your thoughts, relax, let the adrenaline surge and dissipate through your body, heart rate goes down. All these things happen so that you can better handle the stress of what's happening in front of you. The second best way to handle stress is to practice and train through it, which is what we recommend in the masterclass, and I'll show you ways to do that.
Okay, next we've got think. T for think.
Think is important from my perspective on thinking about what you have with you. If you have things in your pocket that you could utilize to affect your survival, if you think about what is in your car that you could utilize to affect your survival, you can think literally about what it is that you have that, hey, I can utilize this in survival. That way you know what it is that you have immediately available, and that's going to be the most useful things that you have.
S-T-O, O, observe.
O is after you've thought and you realize, hey, I've got this, you're probably going to have something go through your mind. You go, oh man, I do not have this. O is observe your surroundings. That way you can take from your surroundings what it is that you need to affect your survival. Again, the T part is think about what you've got. Think about what's right in front of you. O is, hey, I don't have this. I don't have cordage. Okay, look around in my environment. What can I take from my environment to affect my survival? And that's observe.
S-T-O-P. P is for plan.
P is make a plan. You need to know what your needs are, what your priorities are as it relates to survival. And P, one of the most important things that you can do is communicate that effectively to the people that you are with. If you, and this would be difficult for me at times, is I start making a plan and I'm not sharing that plan with the people that are surrounding me, whether that's my children, my wife, my friends, or whoever's on my team at that time. We must work together, communicate effectively. That way we throw ideas out, we bounce ideas around, and a decision is made, and then we move on that decision. Or better yet, let me rephrase, we may move or stay based upon that decision.
Now, S-T-O-P, stop, comes from the U.S. military, I believe. And I believe at some point you or somebody else added an A onto the end of stop.
I did. And let me add to that in just a minute, but I added an A in when I was developing curriculums for what became the survival curriculum for Nature Reliance School. And what I intended A to represent is actively stay alive in your head, have a reason to live. After doing some further reading, I noticed that Cody Lundeen, who's a rather famous survival instructor, he talks about the same thing as I do. And he was probably the first to do it because he's been teaching survival a lot longer than I have. And I think it's a fantastic thing to go about utilizing. It's just something in your head that keeps you alive and gives you a reason to live. And it's vital for you staying alive.
You want to stay positive. You don't want to give up. Executing your plan, cycling back to your plan, and keeping your mind off of negative thoughts, and then celebrating small wins can really, really help.
Yeah, I had Rodney Van Zant was one of my tactical shooting instructors. He referred to little victories a whole lot. You've got to look for those little victories, and I'm so thankful that I had him as a teacher. It's just one of those things that just stays with me every day. Sometimes even just trying to get work done, sitting at a desk, I've got to find little victories. Okay, I got these 4 tasks done today. I might have intended on doing 10, but I got these 4 done. And then you start to have an ability to learn how to push through things are problematic, and you can apply that to disaster, any number of things like that.
Okay, everyone, we are out of time for this survival quick tips segment, but in a moment, Craig and I are going to continue our conversation with some bonus content for our tiny Survival Masterclass students that will include some techniques we can put into practice today to bulletproof our minds.
So guys and gals, if you want access to this additional content, and obviously you should, then you can take the fast track to identifying and plugging all the survival, safety, security, and overall emergency preparedness holes or gaps that you have right now. Right now, we live in incredibly uncertain times, and it's no better time than the present to get into something like the Tiny Survival Masterclass. So check it out at tinysurvivalmasterclass.com. That way you can continue to enhance what it is that you know to be able to take care of yourself and those that you care about. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening for these survival quick tips. And as always, HBO, help a brother out. That way you can share this content with somebody that you know that will appreciate it. You can utilize it to help them, and you help yourself and you help us, which is what we like to refer to as a win-win-win. Those people are going to appreciate it, and we know that we appreciate you. Please know that. Till next time, everybody, keep it simple, be positive, and stay sharp.
For your convenience, I've placed links to everything mentioned in the video description. Make sure you smash that like button and click the bell icon to get notified when we post new survival and preparedness content. To support this channel and encourage us to continue to create new videos and sweet, innovative new gear, go check out our new line of MSK1 knives and EDC gear over at ultimatesurvivaltips.com. And last but not least, don't forget to go check out our 5-star rated podcast, The Survival Show, on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Okay, this is David. I hope to see you on the other side. And remember, be prepared because you never know.